Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year coming, and all the wonderful, wonderful tidings of joy and love that I can muster up. I hope you feel it and you share it amongst everyone else, and that it's been a great season. Now, if I had a magic wand, like I just asked Asif, when was this show going to post? Do you think it'd post on Christmas Day? Well, you know, one of those things that we hate to promise. We would rather under-promise and over-deliver. So the key is you're getting a Christmas show. And that is something that, because of the timing of it, even New Year's, I think you're going to have a New Year's show, which will either fall on New Year's, that you'll get the show, or the day after. Either way, some years can't do that, just depending on the way it falls. But this time around, it works out. And so I wish you glad tidings, either on the day of Christmas or it's the day after. Either way, I have some really fantastic Christmas specials and items you've never seen before that I was going to show weeks ago that in the last couple of shows with all the other goodies that I've been featuring, I haven't had time. And also, though, this week I got a chance. My son was able to come down, and I hadn't seen him in a year due to his new posting outside DC. So as part of what I wanted for a Christmas present, and of course my birthday gift coming up, was for he and I to just take off. And I brought him into my world. Remember, I would have loved a child protege. I got into it when I was 11 years old. He could have at any age he desired. Well, yeah. First age of when he started throwing rocks would have been good, which was probably, around 2. But no, he, at a very young age, wanted military service. And hey, we are blessed in this country that we do have a volunteer army, and that there's enough of our brave, smart, energetic youth that follow that calling. And so, you know, I've had to certainly give him up for many periods of time. Just do it, you know, like whenever he's been posted, I haven't always been able to go there, like Afghanistan or elsewhere. And so I wanted to, since I had gotten COVID, places I used to go by myself, and now due to health and whatnot, I would not do that, unfortunately, anymore. So, with him by my side, we took off, just he and I, and we went to Chunky Gal. And I took him up, and we cracked smaragdite. And funny thing is, within 5 minutes of cracking, I found the first ruby in smaragdite. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a good session. And for both of us, the rest of the time cracking rocks, we never found another single one. And that's the way it is. I had gone to Chunky Gal when I had first started going and was skunked the first time. But then remember, I went that one time when there was a fire, and you can still see the remnants of where the fire is, and I was there and talked the fire jumpers, the lead of the crew, into letting me stay, if I only stayed, on the mountain, because they cut a fire break right up and over the deposit, which they hadn't allowed mechanized bulldozers in there or anything since the 1960s, when they created Cat Eye Cut and whatnot. And when I mentioned Cat Eye Cut to my son, I said, yeah, this is where Cat Eye Cut is. He goes, Dad, are you just making up names of these places? I had to laugh. I said, no, even though, you know, sometimes mining is like fishing. You tend to want to embellish a little bit. But I said, even on my best embellishment days, I wouldn't be able to come up with that name of Cat Eye Cut. It was great. It was great just to be up there. It's 4,100 feet up in elevation. And, of course, there was not another person there. It's actually where I went when we had the full eclipse across the part of the country. And the very center line of that full eclipse, the center line of it, so maximum length of time of complete darkness, was right through and pretty much over the top of where Chunky Gal was up near Hayesville. So we got a really nice mom and pop hotel room overlooking Lake Chateau, and the first day we went up to and cracked smaragdite. The second day, well, that same day, towards the evening, it was getting dark. We tried to find the shaft, which was the corundum, an old ruby mine shaft that I talk about, that I had taken Raven and her daughter to before, and that's where Raven had fallen in the water as we crossed it. Well, this time though, I wanted to drop in from up above it, so we didn't have to cross the river. And in the evening, we turned around before it got much darker. And so the next day, with better bearings and without the pressure of darkness setting in, we went back and found it. So I'm going to finish this story in a little bit because I have a clip of the entrance to the mine, and I also have a specimen that my goal was to go back for, that I had found the first time. So, but a couple of things have changed there, and we'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so comments and trivia. We have a trivia winner. We have some comments, and then I think today's show, with it being the holidays and not knowing exactly when this is going to post, and just to take any pressure off anybody that wants to participate, we're probably not going to do trivia today. So I shouldn't tell you that ahead of time. I still want you to be just as studious and just as good at your note-taking as you might normally be, but just giving you heads up on the course of the show. All right, so let's get to the trivia, though. So we do have a winner for today from last week's show. So the questions were, what is the name given of the unique three-face calcite crystal termination that I featured? And I think there was a thumbnail one week, and then there was a cluster specimen another week. But it was something in a termination that I hadn't really shown in calcite before, and it is quite unusual. So, answer being nailhead. Second question was, what green stone, when tumbled, can resemble emerald? Not all the time, but certainly in that parcel that I featured, I did that intentionally to put that in there so that when I did show it, you got kind of a lesson out of it. So that becomes an issue in all kinds of areas, because a lot of times when parcels are being sold, like let's say if you're buying a parcel, and you can buy a parcel of tumbled emeralds and whatnot, you know, if you only sprinkle in 5 to 10% of something that's much less valuable, that is 5 to 10% more to the bottom line, because usually what you're sprinkling in has a cost factor of just a fraction of what the actual item you're trying to simulate and replace by way of weight. That always becomes an issue in our industry, and is what they call salting parcels. So that's why it's always so important to work and know who you deal with, because think about today's market with lab-grown diamonds. I don't even like to say that word, but it's something that our industry has to face and deal with. And just on the one topic alone of how confusing and difficult it can be is exactly that. I'm used to always being able to buy what we call a parcel of milli, which are diamonds cut that are usually less than 10 points each, or less than about 2.9 millimeters. And so they cut full cuts, 57 facets, down to as small in these micro pave pieces in high quality goods of like half a point. It's crazy how, you know, and this usually are mechanized at that point, computerized and automated faceting done in Israel for that really kind of precision type of work often. But it would be, you know, in a 1 point, 2 point size down that, what it would take especially if you're buying better quality, to either look at each one and test it if you have the very expensive piece of equipment that could detect between lab grown or not, or if you have the ability to look at it under a microscope and be able to tell the difference to a really strong microscope. Either way, time is money. The amount of time to be able to try to audit, so to speak, parcels that this could be done to. Just like when it happened with all the synthetic amethyst, lab-grown amethyst in the market. And you have these parcels, you can't look through every piece and get every one, certified for it. So that's where, again, it is buyer beware, but the buying, even within our industry, can be so time-consuming. That's where you have to trust your suppliers, all the supply chain, all the way back, so that you can avoid such things. So that's why even one little tumbled greenstone in a parcel of emeralds on a different scale and level, you get the same idea. And, if I wouldn't have pointed out that one, and, just said here, even though it was a free item, I think, wasn't it? Yeah. How long would it have been if you would have picked up on that at home? You would have trusted your source, me, and if not pointed out to you, even if you knew what emeralds looked like, it would probably be a while before you maybe noticed there wasn't something quite right with it. Remember, beryl emeralds also have pyrite inclusions in them. Now, aventurine, that little reflected area I show you is, mica, fuchsite usually, chromium bearing mica. But the on emeralds, you can have reflective areas of pyrite and other material as well. So that can even look similar. So anyway, those were the answer being aventurine was the other item that was in with the emeralds, and was a heads up in general warning against any other imitators. All right, let's see, on to this piece of paper. These are the comments from this week. Anthony in Massachusetts says, hello all. When you mentioned the loss of your colleague and friend Sky, immediately I thought I had a picture in my head of him. To make sure, I went to GSN's site before you ran the tribute video Asif made. It is who I thought and have on occasion watched his shows. He always reminded me with that big smile of his of a happy Buddha. I mean that in the most respectful way. I'm so sorry to hear this sad news. Much too young. Rest in peace. And no, absolutely no offense taken. You are certainly not the first, and we all, he absolutely does have that semblance of happy Buddha. And, Hota, who most people, if you say, point to Buddha, and, you have multiple different images, they're going to point to the smiling Buddha with the big belly. And I say smiling Buddha in quotes. That is the image depicted of Buddha. That in reality is actually a considered a bodhisattva. So bodhisattva in the Buddhist community is a really high level, I guess like a saint would be to the Catholic religion. Bodhisattva is in the hierarchy and level of Buddha and the deities. So Hota is the name given to that happy Buddha, and so it would be a tremendous compliment because of the what is attributed to Hota as far as the powers of the deity are all good and positive ones. So yeah, that would fit him and work quite well. And of course, you're not the first to say that. So he would appreciate that. Miss Gabby says, howdy, howdy, rock friends, one and all. Be still, my heart. Did I hear Andrew is back at work? Yay. Missed the nailhead calcite, but was able to score one of the androdite clusters and the beautiful opal and rhodochrosite knife. Have at least 6 or 8 knives I had purchased from you in years past. This will be the first one I've added in a long time. I don't think I have ever heard of a hammerhead termination, and the emerald imposter was aventurine. Withdrawing, opting out from the contest. Happy, healthy, safe holidays to you all. Yeah, that little knife was amazing and piece. And so there aren't like that, any of those anymore. They're just not doing the kind of work that I had pushed them to do, the husband and wife team. So that was one from our mini knife collection, which there weren't too many of, and Raven has most of them. So on that one, I thought I would let out into the marketplace, so to speak. So at a discounted sale opportunity as well. So a really nice piece. We'll read on to see who might have gotten your nailhead calcite item. Mr. Jimbo from Delaware. Season's greetings, Shawn and Rockhound family. Blessings to all during these coming days. Be safe. Did not know Delaware had its own state fossil. Trivia. What is name given to the free-faced calcite termination? Nailhead calcite. What other tumble green stone when tumbled resembles emerald? Aventurine. Well done on those answers. And yeah, back to Miss Gabby. Not sure what day you were coming around, and I know you won't get this till past that time, but if I happen to miss you, then in this message right here and now, I'm sorry that I did, but maybe I'll get to see you later. We'll end for now. Till next time, keep eye to the ground. Never know what is to be found, and that is absolutely the truth. And that's where my eyes stayed, like walking the trails and walking the ground. And it was many different times I stopped. As my son kept walking, he didn't see what I saw, because multiple times I stopped and I'd crack a rock or pick one up and look at it, and you never know what you're going to find. So, yeah, and it's funny, Jimbo, that a lot of states have a state fossil. Florida obviously would be the agatized coral. They also, if possible, if they have gemstones in the state, will have a state gem and a state mineral even. So and rock. So you get rock, mineral, fossil, and gem when possible. So anything, I guess, the legislatures can come up with to show that they're doing something in a state, they do, I guess. Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. Very nice specimens this week, Shawn. That mini knife was my favorite with the precious opal and rhodochrosite. Beautiful. Trivia, nailhead calcite and aventurine. Everyone, until next week, take care. Be safe out there if you are traveling over the holiday period. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. As a matter of fact, Miss Cindy, yeah. So my son goes from here, then he swings by, and then he and his wife, because she had, she started a job that she didn't have enough built-up time that she could come down here when he came down here this past week. So, but when he swings by DC, he's going to get her, and then they're going to go on up to Pennsylvania. And outside of Philly is, not far outside of Philly, is where she has like 3 sisters and her mom, and just a whole big clan of folks. So my son's actually up in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia, in that area, quite often. So like my mom always said, because she had 6 children and a girl at each end and 4 boys in between. And she always said with the 4 boys, what happens is that when they get married, you lose the son, and the other family that has the girl gains a son, you know. So, and I can see what she meant by that. Because most of the time the girl, you know, is easier for the boy to go to the girl's family. I don't know all that psychology behind that, but I think some of that is true. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn says, "Hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. Lively show with lots of goodies. Happy to have snagged the belemnite and the nailhead calcite. Two sweet little pieces. I left the choice coast androdites alone since I already have a number of them, and two of my buddies got two of the best. I know they will enjoy them. So you look like you were about ready to give us a gigger lesson and then stop. I guess I also reminded you it was a shorter show and you had to get to the merch. Well, how about it? What do you recommend in Giggerland? Inquiring minds want to know, and we're going to get to that. I even brought in some specimens that were for sale before, and I don't know. I started a collection of items. See, I'm avoiding use of the word. Items that would make this go off. As to the trivia, the three-faced calcite form is a nailhead like the old blacksmith nails, and the green stone amongst the emeralds was aventurine. The mica sparkle was a great hint. Merry Christmas to all. Show or no show these 2 weeks, ? If no shows, then Happy New Year as well. See you all in 24. Barbara from Brooklyn. It's been a fast year. Miss Penny in Quebec. Always good to hear from her. Hello, Shawn, Raven, amazing GSN crew and fellow rockhounds. I'm catching up now. Firstly, I would like to offer my deepest condolences to Sky's family, friends, and loved ones. That explains why I hadn't seen him in a while. I started watching Gem Shopping in 2001 when it was on for a few hours overnight. Sky hadn't started hosting yet. I, too, watched Sky grow, learn, convey his passion for colored gemstones, and become an extremely knowledgeable host, always professional with that and with his boyish smile. I remember watching him with Frank, and Frank saying that he wouldn't be surprised if Sky became a GG one day. May you rest in peace, Sky. May God grant your family the strength to go through this difficult time and continue to move forward, however impossible it will seem. Trivia, nailhead, and aventurine. Thank you for another great show. I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and all the best for 2024. May the year be full of health, happiness, and wonderful surprises. Then she has sent me her wish list of items, and Christy are putting that together. And I think we're going to have a good number of the ones on your latest list. And as far as your request for Mahali, I'll see what I have. I'll see if I have anything that would work for what you're looking for, and we'll go from there. All right, we have a winner on the trivia, and I don't know, might be some trivia envy here because it's something that I haven't even given away, let alone really sold any of. So the winner this week, as I officially score it right here, is Miss Penny in Quebec. Let's show her what she has won. Someone north of the border has scored something south of the border. That means that we need to have some goodies coming from the Jeffrey mine up there, an amazing deposit in Canada. Anyway, turquoise, American turquoise, and the real thing. So look at this. I just want to show you this one because this is the only one that it's not turquoise, but this labeled 1975. And so malachite from Arizona mining camps. And that is how I would have gotten it with that information on it. So the most interesting thing, though, is the Arizona part and the malachite, because really, I don't know if I have any other malachite from Arizona other than that. And then this is the real deal. These are actual pieces of turquoise that, yep, actual pieces of turquoise that have not been treated. And that is a rare thing to be able to say in the turquoise world. And because almost all of it is stabilized or treated. So when it's chalky like this, that oftentimes is how you can also tell. And you have, of course, your manganese oxides here that can create the spider web. But if you like stick your tongue to that, I didn't do it, but oftentimes it is so dry, so to speak, that your tongue will stick to it. In other words, chalky, and that's why they stabilize a lot of that material. And look at this. This would actually cut a stone. You can see it's solid material all the way around, and that would be pretty interesting. And then here is another nice mixed piece. So I don't know. I thought, well, I could sell those, or I could just give them away, and you know what I'm famous for, giving something away. Okay, let me tuck those away, and I will be right back with the start of the show. A little something special here. The rarest and most valuable color in labradorite, even whether it is the really high-end Finnish spectrolite material with the black base color, or the Madagascan labradorite, the purple is still into the rarest color. This piece has all the colors, and you can see blues, yellows, oranges, and again, it's like an opal. Depending on the angle and wavelength of light, you can get different looks. It is often lamellar, in other words, layered. So if you have it on one side, you can see the colors on the opposite side, but not necessarily from the side like that. Here is really, it could be a pocket stone. Or what they call a palm stone, and people just like to carry these and for metaphysical reasons, or just for show-off reasons, or to have a rock that they can make a connection with. I know that Raven is one of those. She'll hold up a rock and she'll say, you know, can I have this one for the day or whatever, and she'll, I don't know, treasure it and love on it, and I think that's cool, you know? So this piece, it is sale priced because it didn't sell for what it actually should have. So I am offering a end of the year sale. I'm offering a Christmas sale. I'm offering that really beautiful piece for only $24. $24. A fantastic find. It's going to go along with some other sale price items today, including this next one, which is item 113-8423. And wow, I tell you what, in color and aesthetics is often everything when it comes to value in a specimen, and vanadinite is one of those that covers color and the aesthetics of crystal shape really well. The caramel colored crystals are, and they range from orange, of course, to red, are stunning alone, but it is their fantastic symmetry when they're like this in the crystallography of them that adds incredible aesthetics to the piece. So you can see relative to my hand how nice this is. You have a what they call a sandwich effect with some of these crystals, where you have lighter colored exteriors closer to the edge and lighter color centers, making it look like a sandwich. Then you have some limonite base. On many, you have like an oxidized coating on one side. And it's often just particularly on one particular side or one particular angle depending on how it might have been aligned in the pocket that it was growing in. So that's kind of neat to see. So it's not anything uncommon. A lot of specimens will have that, and it really adds a secondary look to the piece. So here is a piece. It is from the 4-man mine, and again, pretty easy to wonder why they named it that. And I saw someone did ask the question at one point when in reading about the mine, and they said, well, because only 4 men work there. So there's the chemical formula for it. You see it is lead vanadate or chlorovanadate, meaning it has chlorine in it, lead, and vanadium. So it is heavy. There's goethite, which is the dark black layer that you see there, and then limonite, which of course is the yellow ochre kind of color. And that was actually in caveman days, ochre was basically limonite. And if you've ever picked up a specimen with limonite or a lot of the goethite, you can see exactly what a good pigment it would make. It's already ground to a fine powder, just as it exists, as is in so many ways. This is a really nice specimen. These have really gone up over the years. Again, everything that I bought 10 or 15 years ago as specimens, remember, mines have a life. The veins run out. They're not endless, including even famous diamond mines, as you know. So same thing, 10, 15 years ago, something that might have been common or more available in the marketplace becomes mined out, and then those specimens are absorbed into the market, and there becomes very little available in markets like mineral shows, gem shows, the whole works. So this being one of those pieces that has a life. It's not going to last that long. I added a little foldable stand in on this if you get it. So I also have it sale priced, which I shouldn't do, but I am. I am dropping it considerably to only $48. $48, and that would be a really amazing find to have, to be able to see. Like if I went to a show and saw someone offering that for only that amount of money, it's like, wow, that's a good deal. So keep that in mind. All right, now, next, I have another collectible item.
Can we take a little break?
And it'll take me just a second to set up on it, so I'll be right back with it. All right, so I thought before we got any further into the show, I didn't want to miss out on the conversation that everyone had wanted me to have regarding the Geiger counter, affectionately known by Raven as a Geiger. After doing a lot of research, I have had this particular unit for, oh, golly, 7, 8 years, 9 years, whatever. I don't think I've replaced the batteries, but one time I use it all the time. And what I found, you can see it is a handheld model. You can see, of course, enough information there that you can look it up. It also comes with a very informative instruction manual, which has a lot of the information that you actually would need or reference regarding more in-depth information on the different types of radioactivity. Now, that is something that it may not cover as, well, I know it doesn't cover as deep as the education that you'll want if you make the purchase of something like this. This one, handheld one with the kind of tricked out at the time, was around $800. I think probably now maybe, you could expect to spend $1,000. There are some that are $200 and $300 and $400. I would not. If you're going to spend that much, then really, if you're going to be serious about it, instead of just checking radon in the basement or something like that, you really need to spend enough to make it worthwhile. You can see it is a well sealed up item. It is not like waterproof, but it certainly could be used in a damp environment, like in a well, you're going to see a picture of a mine shaft in a moment. That, of course, a lot of different mines have a lot of moisture, and you're going to run into that in a lot of times. So you can see the number's been changing. What that is the ambient number of counts per minute, the CPM of the natural radioactivity. No matter where you are, there's always some radiation, and of course there's 3 types. We won't get into all that either, but alpha, beta, gamma, and X-ray are the 4 types overall. Alpha, beta, and gamma are with gamma being the deadliest. Alpha, a piece of paper can stop the particles. They only go a few inches from the specimen. Beta, that can penetrate the skin, is much more dangerous and can go outwards of 6 feet even, depending on the right situation. And then gamma, wow, only thing that stops it is lead, and the particles travel a long distance. So, but most everything that you see as by way of minerals is mostly just a alpha particle type of emission. So let me just show you a couple of interesting things. And something that I pulled from the show was, let's look at this specimen right here. And David, yeah, thank you. So it was a specimen of agarine, and you can see, look at these incredible crystals of zircon. See the tan crystals? This is one of those fantastic specimens that I had some. Look at all the zircon crystals on this that are the tan crystals. Okay, so I got to looking at it closer, and I got to looking at some of the other crystal formations, and then I thought, let me put my Geiger counter on it. All right, so we already saw that regular ambient number of counts per minute is in a 20 to 50 range, somewhere like that. And by the way, phones don't put off any radioactivity. Even bananas are supposed to have it, but a whole bunch of bananas never went outside the ambient range, the regular range that you would see. And Brazil nuts are supposed to be as well, all because of potassium content. And Brazil nuts, it's in the ground that they grow in. None of it was so radioactive that it was outside of what is the kind of radioactivity in and around you all the time. All right, so what I did, I took my Geiger counter and I brought it down to this specimen, and instantly I started getting readings way outside the norm. Now, the button on the left turns it on and off. The button on the right is your menu that you can scroll through it. Okay, so what you're looking at is something outside of alpha decay, because that would stop alpha particles. Let's take a reading now if you include those. Look at that. So for me, I always think that a 500 or 600 count per minute is plenty safe. Okay, so that is on one side. So then I continued to turn the specimen. Look at this side, it goes over the decimal point, which means in the thousands. So that is 2,400 counts per minute. That is way outside the range of what I would feel as safe. So I turned it, and you can see on this side, it's still high, but not the same. All right, so when there's a particular side like that to a specimen, so I just turned it back to that side. Wow, I can hear it. It's really hot. All right, so then I examined it closer. What on that one particular side did I see that wasn't on other sides? And I found a mineral that was new. I had never had a specimen before. So I got to tick off a box for parasite. And it's not like the parasite like a, insect type of parasite or plant parasite. No, this is named after J.J. Paris, a manager of the Muzo mine fame, of emerald fame in Colombia from 1828 to 1848. Parasite was named after him. It is a rare, full of REEs, rare earth elements. It is a lanthanum cerium lanthanum molecule, which is lanthanum carbonate with fluorine. So, yeah, it is chock full of potential to be hot and radioactive. So that was kind of neat that way, and that was a good use. And of course, it is a cool specimen with incredible zircons on it. And with that other crystal, I thought, okay, I'll keep that one. All right, here, let me just go to show you another thing that's good for. All right, like the fossils in the Moroccan fossil beds, they are known to be found often amongst potassium and phosphates, all right, just like Florida fossils. And it is potassium. There's 3 natural radioactive elements in our crust. Only 3, actually, and that is K40, potassium-40, uranium-232, and uranium-238. And everything else are, components or their half-lives and have become something else. That's where we get our radon. Eventually, uranium turns into lead at the very end of all of its isotopes. And on and on. It's really fascinating. So potassium-40, if this is in ground with phosphates, you're going to get your potassium. And in the ambient range, do we get anything outside of that? Yes, we do. So, okay, we have around 200, 300 counts per minute on just regular fossils that you see. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. You should always wash your hands after messing around with your rocks and minerals anyway, irregardless of what they're made of. So what you sometimes don't know, you say won't hurt you. Well, in the case of other situations, it can. Like you're playing with an orpiment specimen or a real gar and didn't know that is an ore for arsenic, or you're cutting, malachite without enough water and didn't know that the copper dust coming from it is poisonous. Or didn't know something that I offered, New Mexico schwarzklingerite. Look at that chemical formula. It's really cool. It's fluorescent, and it is a calcium, uranium, has fluorine in it, carbonate. Sulfate, actually. This is actually a really unusual. So yeah, this is a unusual, and it, like so many others, it is the yellowish component of it. And as you can see, boom, very radioactive. Anytime I think, something, my personal cutoff is around 500 or 600 counts per minute. So that's 1,200, 1,100. And if you can hear it, that little ticker is just going away. You can also control the ticker on and off. You can, there's other functions through here. So you can see this far away, okay, so we're about 5 or 6 inches away. You can see how much of it drops off. You're down to 180 counts per minute, 200. And so those are alpha particles that are just falling away. You bring it up to it, boom, over 1,000, it can go just like that. So here is the one that kind of was, it did and then didn't, apatite. Apatite is known to have REEs, rare earth elements. This particular apatite, you've seen it. This is a one that was broken, so I use it for a demonstration piece. This is, of course, that Brazilian apatite that you see the blue of. They carve it into many different things. So, here is our ambient range of what is just floating around, 20s and 30s. Let's put this up to here and see. Okay. See, that, you know, is what a lot of people don't know. So it's what, 600? Yeah, 500. Yeah, I thought it was going to fall into the range. It's acceptable, you know, it's in an acceptable range, but what a lot of people don't know that it is radioactive at all. Now, really, you know, for anything to record, you'd have to wear it next to, you know, your brain, you know, strapped to your brain 24/7 for every day of the year of your entire life if you live to be 100, and then you might, you know, get a mole from it. That kind of thing. So you can't get, you know, too scared or afraid of items that are radioactive, but you do just have to be aware of what ones are. Now, econite, that's the only gemstone that is considered radioactive. Now, by the way, zircon, not all zircons, but there are some zircons that they will have some REEs in them, rare earth elements, that will trigger a response, but they're all still well within a safe, very safe range. Econite, though, I decided not to sell any of that. I have several faceted stones, extremely rare, to have them, and I think I've shown them to you before. Now, it would definitely be an issue because the count I got on a single 1 carat faceted, it's greenish color, was over 5,000 counts per minute. Yeah, so you put that on your finger, wear it as a ring, and you will probably end up with bone cancer or something like that. There is actual warnings against that particular stone in situations. Yeah, like, you know, let's say you wear it as a pendant next to your heart, or earrings next to your brain. I mean, you know, there's, or you put it in a little tube that goes inside a malachite box that goes inside, you know, the little, when you get a gift card, there's a little aluminum box that looks like a Home Depot toolbox that would go in the back of a truck, you know, one of those galvanized type things. So I got one of those one time, and my malachite box fit perfectly in it. So I have it doubly, triply protected. And of course I could test the outside of it, and I stopped it all from 5,000 counts per minute to nothing outside of just the regular range. And so that's like my secret safe for my econite. But yeah, so there you go. There's a quick thing. Let me just show you the other side. So this is the preferred type of what am I trying to say? Of filter that you want is this kind versus the kind that they first had back in the 1950s. So anyway, that's the one I found that I like. It was still affordable, does everything I wanted to do, and was very, very user-friendly. It comes at the end with the strap that comes on it, and this unscrews to access the battery pack, and it has just been all over through the woods with me, and never have I had an issue with it. So that's just a little bit of info. You get the benefit of me having done looking into the homework ahead of time and the research on it. So, all right, now I took away the pad that isn't glowing there. So let me. Now you're probably going to want to see everything. And this was one to actually check. 106-9822. So 106-9822. And I am kind of curious about it myself because it, remember, is that from the zircon belt. The zircon belt of North Carolina. And anytime there's zircon, remember zircon is one of the oldest gems. It's brought up, you know, created often deep in the earth, and you never know what it's going to have. So now that you know what a little bit, all I have to do is pass something over it now, and you know enough. Remember, you want to rotate it because the really hot crystal that might be on there might be on the opposite side, and you may not get a accurate reading unless you kind of go around the whole thing. So there you have it. You're that close. It's nowhere outside the range. So good to go on that one. And like I said, it is the zircons that can be a issue, because I have tested some, and well, I have one. I don't have it with me, but I have one of the red zircons from Pakistan. Not all of them, but I have this particular specimen that has, I think, more to do with something else that I can't see that's in the matrix. That is, I put a little warning actually on the bag so I wouldn't sell it. There's something in it that is really hot, and other ones weren't. So it's kind of interesting about that. I'll have to do a little bit more investigation about that. So this is one of those fantastic specimens from the extinct mine, and that's what they call them when they're not when they're not operating anymore, and the life of the mine has expired. So they extinct versus like closed. And this one I am going to put on sale. This actually, did we look at this closer? Because this has some really interesting smoky quartz crystals, as we can see right here. As we look right up at the top, you can see those well-defined smoky quartz crystals. And here is another crystal, really nice. And then here is your microcline, your feldspar, well-defined crystals. And then look at the black crystals. These are, look at that. Look at how well-shaped that zircon is. I mean, that is a bipyramidal. Look at that one as well. Just very well formed, and it is dotted with them all around. And again, I always wonder what is on the inside. I was just looking at this whole crystal right here and wondering, look at that. 1, 2, if this whole thing isn't some type of crystal. And what is this over the top of it? Yeah, this, whoever gets this, explore it further. Definitely explore it further. Beryl has also can be found in some of these, and there's a clear crystal. I think it's either tourmaline or beryl that can form in between these others, like little micro bridges. I don't know. I don't think this one has any, because I would have notated it, but I'm still trying to exactly work it out. I think some of them are actually acroite, clear tourmaline. And if I have one with that, I'll see if I can't feature it at some point, so you know what to look for if you have one of these, because there are some that have a clear striated crystal in them, and I believe that's what it is. But I needed to do and continue some further research on that. So. Yeah, this jewel, it's on sale. So pick it up for only $38. $38. And under shortwave, I didn't actually test, but I was just thinking under shortwave light, you might be able to, there might be some fluorescence, because I saw some mention and notice of that, and with that type of feldspar, that's the best luck I've had before for finding a red fluorescence, and but haven't specifically checked that. All right, I am going to show you, I have a world-class specimen here, but let me get to some other items I have. This is one of them. Item 1139423. Now, this is one that, again, difficult to find. and it really, really showy. You can see it's so bright. Yeah, we have to bring the light down on it some because it is those chartreuse colors. And plus, the shape of these crystals is also what's real attractive. They are barrel shaped, and that's like the best description I can have for them. Let me see if I can't give you a little closer in on one of these. Dave work his magic, and let's go in and there we go. Perfect. Now we're talking. All right, so just here. This is what it reminded me of. Actually, like almost something out of a monster movie. Look at how the crystals are shaped, and out of the end, almost, I don't know, I guess like a pineapple top. Look, there's one. There it is, right there. Let me go to my other magnification, because what it is a group of smaller crystals that grow out of, there we go. Look. Excellent, excellent. And they remind me of, not a leech, like a lamprey, almost like a lamprey, if you know what those creepy little things are. Or let's keep looking at them, because it's worth having the specimen to have this unusual formation where you have your base crystal, and then out of the top or side or whatever direction come these other smaller crystals that look menacing. I'm telling you, I mean, it's neat as heck. Look at that. There we go. That one right there, Dave. Or both of them. Well, look at the one laying across the other. Well, that's just creepy looking to me. I would never say that about a dear, beautiful Mother Nature's crystal. But when you look at the pyromorphites, you see that. Look at the others with the little like legs sticking out of them. I don't know. Maybe it's just a wild imagination that I have when it comes to insects. I normally don't mind it, nor do I normally see crystals as any type of insect. But in this case, look the way almost every single one of these is a formation of crystals that it's like a secondary growth. So you had your first growth, initial growth. I mean, crystals don't grow like that. They would grow symmetrically. There'd be another group of them at the other end or something. But you have your initial crystalline growth, and it's like there's a secondary growth out of the end of them. You see that, right? Right, Dave? It's not just me. Tell me you see it. It's like maybe like the body snatcher pods, and they really start off this small. Look at that. See that? So I know everyone has seen them because we've gotten some excellent shots. Oh, there we go. That one right there. When you go and try to look up comparable crystals and see if there's anything exactly like this, let me know if you find anything, because I really didn't see anything that was so pronounced as this piece was. So there's crystals on both sides, and it is from a very old, and for those of you from Pennsylvania, you would and should have to have a representation of this from the Wheatley mines. They operated from the 1860s to the 1920s. So this is what would be called like a lead chlorophosphate. And by specific gravity, pyromorphite is heavy. It often is found in this kind of chartreuse range. And on this type of matrix, it was, used. The mine was mined extensively and for a long period of time because of what it could produce, and what they got out of pyromorphite. This is a old specimen, and I'm trying to see any other info I had on it. But you can look up Wheatley Mines, and you can actually click and see when you go to Mindat, and then look it up, and then you can actually click on it, and it'll take you to current pictures of the mine or the location in almost most cases. So a really, really neat specimen. Now, while we're talking about specimens, I want to talk about my trip with my son, and I want to show you, we were headed to, of course, you know the main deposit of Chunky Gal. That's where you see the ruby and smaragdite. You've gotten a lot of specimens from. Now, the other mine that I took him to is the Shaft Mine, and I've talked to you about that, and where I've taken Raven to it and her daughter, and that's where we also had pictures. We only go in the wintertime. The bats in there are dormant. They hibernate, of course, because there's no insects for them to feed on. So that's when you can count on the bats to be up against the wall, and so there's these little small bats that I've seen in most all the different mines I've been in, and I've been in this particular mine a number of times, countless number, 4, 5, 6 times and whatnot, but I haven't been since way prior to COVID and prior to that. So I probably haven't been there in at least 5 or 6 years. Let me show you the specimen that I had been in there that we collected before that I didn't appreciate as much. Okay, so no item number. This one isn't for sale. This is a little, we're having a little teaching lesson right now. This is what, look at this. This is what I was going after. And I didn't appreciate it as much. There was part of at the entrance, a big vein of this material. Now, I was able to, look at this, the entire thing is crystal, and it's chrysotile serpentine. Now, chrysotile, it's almost redundant. Chrysotile is a type of serpentine. Chrysotile is one of the 3 different minerals that are classified as an asbestos group mineral. Let me show you a picture that we have queued up for you so you can compare. Look at this. Now, this is straight out of Mindat, and thanks to Asif and Latif and the gang for being able to do this. And you can see it listed strictly as chrysotile. And it is amazing how, look at the top picture. It is, you look like you could have mined it right out of the wall, and how similar it looks in the graining. Now, look at the picture at the bottom in the same picture. Both of those are chrysotile. And that is where I said that chrysotile is considered one of the asbestos group minerals. Asbestos isn't a specific mineral on its own. Chrysotile, any mineral that is what, well, it's a fancy word for it, but any mineral that basically, they call it respirable. In other words, that can be breathed in, is considered an asbestos group or an asbestos form mineral. In this group of, in this family of minerals. So chrysotile, which creates the tiger's eye in tiger eye, that is a breathable and they're referring not just as you find it, but if you crush it, like as if when you're mining it, and then it's easy to breathe it in. You have, of course, talc. Talc is still a kind of N group member of this group of asbestos type of minerals. In this form, it is that I found, and in the form at the top, it is solid, it is as hard as can be, and it would take a lot of effort to even put it in a powder form. But it is the type of mineral that is, based on its chemical composition, can be found with corundum. And that's what this mine was. I found this, it ran with a corundum vein that was a quality good enough for it to be considered a ruby mine instead of a corundum mine. At the turn of the last century, corundum, known as emery boards, ladies know of an emery board that we still refer to them, us older folk. because emery was the word given to corundum, the commercial quality of corundum, because it was a natural, before they started synthesizing, making synthetic corundum, synthetic sapphires, etc., in the 20s and whatnot. Prior to that, it was the hardest natural substance outside of diamond. So for all kinds of abrasives, from fingernails to industrial abrasives, a corundum mine was extremely valuable if it had nothing of gem quality. It was the hardness of it that made it so desirable. Well, the Nantahala forest and surrounding mountains, there were a number of corundum mines. Then they had big setups in extracting it, and ore carts and whatnot, driven and pulled by mules, and a lot to get, they went through a lot of effort to get the material out, because it was worth it. It was worth it. That part of North Carolina, there is no gold. That's well outside the gold belt. And but corundum, it might as well have been gold. So when I went in this mine, we picked off the wall a couple of specimens of the chrysotile. And then I really got a much better appreciation when I went and looked at Mindat and looked at what we found, and it's like, wow, I want more of that material. So we went back, and we have you have the other picture ready? The one of the mine itself, the mine shaft. That's it. All right. So much to my dismay, when we went back and with my son, because this is in a mine that if you didn't know where it was, you would never find it. And not only is there a gate there, but that gate is impenetrable. It is actually drilled and anchored into the entrance. Now, and then welded together. You could have taken a sledge, one of my crack hammers, to it, and you could not have even put a dent in the steel. It was made so scientists could not even venture in, because once you create an egress, once you create a door or a chain or a lock, any of those items can be cut or broken into and opened up, especially, of course, bolt cutters. So they made it to where no one could ever get in unless you had a generator and an electric diamond water-cooled saw or something like that. But to the left, what you don't see there, to the left, there's a pole. And on the pole, it says, first thing you read is, there is no commercial value to this item. All right, upon closer inspection, it says there's a study being done about the bats that are in there, and there has been a white nose fungus, they call it, something like that, that has been killing off millions of bats across the country and the South. So something has got to be done. I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but what it was an extremely sensitive microphone. So here, my son instantly starts saying, "Don't say my name." But these things, and there was an antenna. They are only set, most likely, not to even register in the wintertime when they're hibernating, but they would only be set at usually dawn and dusk when the bats come in and out, or maybe overnight to hear some of the noises. And so, yeah, it was $1,200 if you went and bought it. Oh, yeah, no value. Of course, they write that because they don't want anyone stealing it. And there was some other high-tech equipment just inside the gate that you could see if you were looking for something like that. Bottom line is, if the deposit, the vein that I went for of this, and we'll come back to the crystal that I found, if that was where I had thought it was, it would have been just inside the gate, and I would not have been able to get it. I would have been able to see it, but not get it. That would have driven me crazy. But it wasn't there. So somewhere in the last, 5-6 years, somebody else extracted what I went back for. And now I'll never be able to enter that. Point being, opportunity knocked I got a specimen. I could have gotten some more. Greed didn't kick in at the time. Only later, when I realized kind of how unique of a specimen this is, did I want to go back and get more of it. But now and forever, that mine is extinct. It is extinct to collectors. It is extinct to any future mining. It's over with. It's considered a natural habitat for the bats, and I'm all for the bats, but closed off to all kinds of collecting. You never know. You never know when your spot may be closed, and certainly there's not even any, you can't even find a cigarette butt. There's not one bit of vandalism there. There's not one bit of graffiti, which is rare. There's not one bit of a beer can where kids go, because no one knows where it is. No one knew where this place was. You'd have to be a bat person or something like that to know. So I am fortunate to get this specimen, and it just made its rarity go up. And it's really, technically, it's value, because there will never be another specimen collected from this exact particular mine of this particular mineral from there ever again. So anyway, that's how things go sometimes, and that's the end of that story, because you saw me with pictures from that particular mine before, and now there won't be any more specimens coming from there. I just hope they keep Chunky Gal open. All right, let me put that one up, and I'll be right back. Sale price item right here. Look at this. You know it's a natural aquamarine, so when you get the gradient of colors like that, and you have look at that, isn't that neat? The green up here towards the cap. So heat treating aqua, which I've done thousands of carats of material, of facet and crystal. Most of the time, though, the heat treating to drive off the green is done after the material's cut. You get a material that has some inclusions, you get a very small percent of stones that may pop or break from the heat treating. But it's not that high of a temperature. It doesn't take that much heat to do it, and it's just an iron change of the number of electrons, so from 2 to 3, and they can actually reverse it back now. So kind of odd, but what you can't reverse would be once you're done, you can't get that kind of gradient of color back. So here is a really nice shape. You can see there was some etching at some point in the crystal's life, but then there was also some additional growth and material that came afterwards. There's probably irises in there. Look at, here is what's really neat. I knew there's something really different about this. Look at that. You see that triangle shape? Well, I could almost pretty much assure you that what was going in there, it'd be neat to see it, but that the aqua would have grown around, would have been a tourmaline crystal, would have been the termination of a tourmaline crystal, and then the aqua formed around it. And of course, there wasn't a bond strong enough to keep the two together. So anyway, good deal on this showy large crystal, and especially when I sale price it at what I'm offering this for, which is, let me put it in my hand and show you. Look at that. That's pretty neat. How about this? Only $44. Only $44 on that one. And yeah, March birthstone. And again, Orongo. The Orongo, when you see enough, I had a lot of Gilgit aquas before from Pakistan, and there is a very distinct difference when you see enough of them from one to the other. And this one, the color gradation and whatnot, you can easily see it to be what it is, and being an Orongo, Namibian material. All right, now let's let you have a shot at this. 111 9923. Before I just, can only go so cheaply, I guess I'll use the word before it becomes ridiculous to to even sell them at that price. Look at this. All right, now here is a batch of blue topaz. Look at that. You know, Swiss blue is probably my favorite color. The London blue, too dark. The sky blue, it looks too confusing to be with aqua. If you want an aqua look-alike, the sky blue topaz can be, well, it could take equipment to be able to tell the difference unless you've seen enough. Because at 1.61 for refractive index and barrel, yep, sure can, thank you. And barrel being 1.57, that is enough of a difference that if you've seen enough of them, you can actually tell by the amount of light refracted back out the difference. So let me get here. Anyway, these all came out of one piece, so they're really nicely matched. They're well cut. It was a valuable bracelet. It was actually a gold bracelet that the value of the gold was so many more times the value of the topaz. It, of course, wasn't, look at that, worth selling it like that. It just made it seem really, really expensive. So here we go. Price on these, sale price now for the set of them. And I will, how about this? What's the total carat weight? 10.45 carats. Let's do $12. $12. And so to get that color at a, oh, that's a huge discount. I just found the bag. I put the aqua in the wrong bag, so I really didn't have the bag, so I was just winging the price. Well, you know, that's crazy, crazy cheap to offer those. So if it doesn't sell at that price, you won't see them again. You won't see them again. No, now, let me show you this next item, which, actually, let me get to the back here. Yes, this was a neat batch you haven't seen. 1150123. 1150123, and let me take those topaz out and put them in here for the moment. And then take this, and here we go. Look at this. Look at this. Here is a pile of rocks. And this is a batch that I had put together. And then I thought, you know, I'm just going to offer it for sale. Look at that. Look at that. Now, this is rhodochrosite, and it's really a really gemmy piece. You can see the banding in here, so it would cut an amazing cabochon. It is that really nice Argentinian material. Here also is amazonite, so feldspar. Then look at this, rutilated quartz. It's a fun collection. Madeira citrine. Real deal there. And then let me see. Oh, yes, this is also good for doing and starting or for hardness testing. And this is, and you can see that reflection right off of there. That's one of the ways you can tell this is a piece of topaz. This is tumbled white topaz. So you have a hardness of 8 in your topaz as part of the Mohs scale. Then you have quartz, which is 7. You have feldspar, of course, which is rated 6. So between 6, 7, and 8, those 3 hardnesses, you can determine a vast majority of what different minerals are. And knowing that you have your rhodochrosite as far as down in the range of around 4, then you cover even some more ground with that. Look at this. Look at how gemmy that quartz is. And so these were just some odd quartz crystals that, look at this though, doubly terminated. I did not check these for anhydros, but they certainly can have bubbles in them. I always am suspect when I see the doubly terminated ones. They tend to, see, this is another one. I couldn't tell you exactly where this particular quartz group of quartz is from, but I'm suspicious of some of it looking Tibetan, and that with the double termination or some of the darker carbon inclusions in some of it, but then others, parts of it look more like Arkansas. Anyway, to get even rhodochrosite in a single piece or two is difficult. You could even tumble this whole batch. It would make a wonderful, nice, very gemmy batch of tumbling material. And no matter which way you cut it, for only $18 for the whole bunch, it is, of course, worth that. You know, faceting quality in the rutilated material, just all kinds of fun can be had, and tumbling it, of course, is a lot of would be a lot of fun as well, because seldom, oftentimes, people don't tumble things of higher values, but I have tumbled everything, as you notice, from emerald to ruby to garnet. I like tumbling them, or like those hessonite garnets. They came out really beautiful, tumbled, and then you can easily look and see which ones are of a facet grade. Much easier that way. Let's look at item 1126923. Here is a splashy piece, and so when you see those crystals in blades like that, it's either going to be Clevelandite feldspar or barite. When you see the vanadinite, so we already showed you a larger cluster of just vanadinite. Well, here is vanadinite from a different location in Morocco, and I love it when they're on these barite blades. It makes for a very attractive piece, the way they form sometimes just along the ridges of them. And here is the situation to offer that for only $21. No, you know what? Let's do this. Here, $18. $18 on that. And that will should assure that someone should add that piece for that amount of money. Yeah. Make a nice stocking stuffer, albeit maybe late. And if I am, oh, look at this. I can't believe I have this piece still, because I didn't want to give it up the first time around. 1145023. And look at this. This is that incredible piece of, and you might know I took my flashlight, other little flashlight, and my fluorescent light, and now with my baggage, don't know exactly where it is, but anyway, I'll find it. Look at this, beautiful green yellow, and so here's another thing. Remember, we talked about when you see from above it, and you can see this kind of chatoyant reflection. Oftentimes, that's what one of the first signs that something may star. Now, looking on the back side of this, it almost looks like when you see a hematite star with the rutile coming away, you can almost see these reflective legs coming out from a center point. Another sign that it may star. If any size star would be able to be cut from this, it would be quite a gem because of its unique color. Now let me just kind of show you that unique color. by backlighting it through this piece. Look at, there we go. Thank you, sir. Look at that green. When have you ever seen a green or even a yellow star sapphire? Exactly. I don't know if I've ever really seen one. So this one is a wonderful bicolor with strong areas of, look at that green. You can see the clarity, a nice green with clarity to it, and then zoned with yellow. How neat is that? Thank you, sir. So this is a gemmy piece of rough or a wonderful, rare, collectible specimen, crystal specimen from New South Wales, which I've traveled all about, including out to Lightning Ridge. And, you know, you can spend 3 weeks in Australia and never get out of the New South Wales territory, which is pretty much what the way it went. This is a fantastic piece, and again, I would. My whole idea was always to cut into it, and then it would be worth it no matter how it turned out. But it also is a great item to leave as is. So I'll let that be someone else's decision. I am going to put it, sale price it down, and make this guy only $36. $36, 29 carats. So yeah, it's again one of those that if you went to a show and said, my goal is going to be to find a crystal specimen from Australia of bicolor corundum. And, you know, doesn't necessarily have to be a quality beyond that, but that be your goal. Good luck even achieving that, and let alone quality or potential to cut or the large size that it is. Yeah, so having actually knowing and having bought rough and had a lot of Australian party color rough cut, I know how unique it is. Let me show you 113-7223, and this is either for the pearl stringer adding on, or for someone that is designing something that they want a larger size cultured pearl for. And let me just get this, excuse the noise, but that is the sound. You should have seen how I had to polish my fingernails as best as I could because they were beat up from true rock. Yeah, and in the creek and everything, it was, they were, yep, beat up. But that's the sign of someone that is really gets in the field, and you know I do that. That's me. Okay, so this item number is 113-7223, undrilled. Undrilled? Maybe half drilled. Really? If they're undrilled, that would be really rare. Oh my goodness. No wonder I kept them all this time. Yeah, undrilled. They make a little jig if you don't have one that to drill them straight, because if you try to drill, now half drilling, no problem. If you try to drill a pearl all the way through and you think you're doing a really good job getting it right down to the middle to the other side, no way possible. No way possible. I have caused more wompity-womp pearls going around a piece of string than before I bought the jig, and I ended up, now I have like 3 of them, but it's just an inexpensive tool that you can use in conjunction with a Fordham drill press or just a handheld drill to be able to center the pearl so that when the hole comes out the other side, it has gone straight down through the middle of it instead of off at an angle, which is almost always guaranteed to happen. And I know I have had my share of failures in thinking I could get that straight. So anyway, undrilled pearls, that leaves it wide open. Now, if you're only drilling halfway through to go onto a piece, you can see they actually match. So these are, you know, Acoria. So in other words, they're cultured, and you can tell, I can tell that they are not 6-month pearls. In other words, they have been growing in the oyster. You know, the best would be 2 years for a really thick coating of nacre, but these are at least to get that kind of depth in the translucency of the surface, have to be at least a year having been in the pearl. Most that you see, these inexpensive promotional ones, won't have been in the oyster more than 6 months. It's really kind of sad how quickly they try to then pass something else. And what I mean by that is the rest of it is the mother of pearl implant. You only get in 6 months a thin little covering of natural nacre that can be picked off. Once it's drilled from that hole, you can take your fingernail and usually pick off the surface, just like you're peeling paint off a wall. It's really, anyway, great match to these, 6.5 to 7 millimeters, and especially undrilled. Because why undrilled is more expensive when you go to buy them? Because when they drill them in the worst little blemish on the pearl. So in other words, the pearl can have a blemish. They go ahead and that is their entrance starting drill point for either halfway or whole way through, but we're halfway through. So you can have a pearl that's got a blemish, drill it halfway, you don't even see it. Just kind of like putting a prong over an inclusion in a diamond. When you get them undrilled, that means that the entire pearl has to be, it can't have a big lump sticking out on one side or some bad area that you can hide by the drill entrance point. So they're by the nature of that beast alone, a better quality. But my price isn't going to reflect it. How about this? I really should just keep them, but I'll pass along a sale price on these and make them only $21 for all three. $21. No, that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked before they ask the sales, because I always talk about how I'm willing to drill a slice or slab or something like that. I'm glad you asked that. No, I won't drill these for you. You're on your own in this case. It's just time consuming, and at that price point, no. You can, what these are really good for, you can set them in prongs, and you don't have to worry about if the pearl is however way you set it, because it'll look great on no matter what side. Other ones, you have to set them, of course, if they has a post, and put them on the hole, and I don't know. Anyway, 3 pearls undrilled is actually hard to find, and I guess that's why I have them. And for the little bit that I've charged versus what they're actually worth, someone should get those. Okay, now, let me get over here. I have one last pack of Goshenites left, but I don't know. Maybe I'll hang on to those. Let's see what we have. Okay, now. $113.99.23. $113.99.23. I have a deal on this ring right here. Look at this, the Indian sunstone that so many people get confused, of course, with the Oregon sunstone. There is such a difference, and that's why I put hematite in the actual description. instead of just calling it sunstone, so there wouldn't be any confusion. The biggest difference, well, is the difference between hematite and the difference between copper. Hematite's an iron ore. Oregon sunstone, the reflection is caused by copper platelets. What you see in this piece looks very much like it, but are not, but totally different. There's not, even though you see what looks somewhat like a Schiller reflection in there, it's not like a copper Schiller effect. Completely different. But nevertheless, this is iridescent. It has a really nice reflective color. It's a well-made silver ring. It's an estate piece, and can't, unless it only goes up a little bit, won't be able to do any sizing on it because of the thickness of the shank. Takes a lot of heat, and for the price I'm going to be offering it for, that would take some time. So how about this? I am going to sell and offer that entire piece at a sale price of $28. $28. That should get someone's attention on that. And here, let me just, it probably actually fits my finger. Yeah, it does. Look at that. So there we go. Actually, yeah, good point. What size is it? Yeah, we're always rusty at that. Size 7.5 right there. That's why it fits me well. Size 7.5. All right. Let me put away a couple of things and I'll be right back. Okay, for those of you who've been watching me for any length of time, you have not seen one of these guys in a while. Now, you know, when I first said it,
You know I like mushrooms.
see, I can't even keep the peanut gallery quiet. Before, I couldn't get through my first paragraph of this presentation. You know, when I first set it out there, so Dave starts out, the camera was actually zoomed set to be zoomed. It was actually in this little spot right here. Dave, go ahead. Show us how it first looked to you. Now go in a little closer to where it only showed this little part that in the opening. So they both see the screen, and all they see is this much what you're seeing right now, and I think they were both going to toss their lunch. I said, no, don't start off with that shot. Let's show the whole item, and you take it all in. But no, that wasn't good enough for us. So he has to go to the mushroom comment. Well, that's the whole idea. That's what we could not keep these. What they are is naturally collected Petoskey stones, which you've heard of, Petoskey, Michigan, a town in Michigan that is, you know, thriving, unlike most, and they are natural coral fossils. You can see the name, how appropriate it is, Hexagonaria procarinata. And look at that, how well defined that is. That looks like it is living, breathing right now. And as one that had a lot of saltwater fish tanks with live coral in them, I can tell you, you know, it's amazing the cell replacement, how this is. So you can pick these up along Lake Michigan. Did you realize that up at that latitude, at one point, coral grew? Of course, with the plate tectonics, everything's been rearranged around on the Earth, and it's a different place now than it used to be, 350 million years ago, when there were coral reefs in what is now the edge of Lake Michigan. So, my friend who has the, by the way, that copper rock shop up there in the Keweenaw Peninsula is for sale. If you've got an extra $2 million, you can be the one with access to all kinds of neat copper deposits and other fun things, and a nice big rock shop. Good buddy of mine, Ken, yep, he's retiring now, and so he's the one a long time ago that I got a lot of these neat items from, and they're just, unless someone takes over, doesn't mean they're still going to be these things going to be available. Well, this was one that we had left, and I am sure Raven still has another one. I found this one. Remember I told you I found some other items, and it is in brand new, perfect condition. So what they do, they find these, and then they cement them together, and they put this really, really heavy layer of lacquer on them that you see, and have this wonderful, wonderful, beautiful finish. Look at this. So this is how you naturally, look at that. You can see, if this was wet, you can see the hexagonaria fossil portions of it there still. You can see them here. And it's really neat to take this and put it in a display case and then put other little doodads around it and make like a little gnome land. This was considered one of the large ones, as a single one goes, from what I can recall. And they are treasures. But the key to it is you still have to find 3 fossils. Even this piece is a fossil that's been sliced. Let me show you. You can see right here the hexagons. There we go. Look at that. See that? So it is still a fossil that has been sawed. Look at that. You can see this is incredible. I think it is fascinating, really, the idea how to come up that they came up with doing that. I don't even know if they have that product anymore. This is from at least 10 years ago. Anyway, only have the one, only ever going to have the one, and why not? I'm going to make this only $36. Only $36. And the 3, a quality Petoskey stone alone, just like this, in this quality alone, can sell for a good bit. It has a lot to do with it when you have that kind of clarity of the coral itself. So to even find 3 nice pieces like that, and then but yet to have it put together in a finished item is a really good value. Okay, I am going to show you item number 114-1523. This is a world-class specimen. For those of you that are zeolite lovers, if you don't have a heulandite like this, well, you need one. This is what is considered pink, and it certainly looks it in, to me, or pinkish cream, depending on which ones you look at. Then it has the classic. This is also a really good one if you haven't learned how to tell the difference between a stilbite and heulandite yet. It's a really good one to have as a reference crystal so that you can look at it and then look at others, because they can be quite similar. So you have these wonderful these sprays that heulandite can form in. This is a just beautiful representation of it. You have, looks like a little bit of selenite back here, a type of mica, believe it or not. And for heulandite, look at that. Look at that. See how it actually is like saddle shaped, the way the crystals form. You know, crystals usually like to form straight lines, right? This is a perfect specimen because it shows you one of the other things that heulandite is can be found in, one of the other forms, and that is a saddle-shaped form. In other words, a curve to the crystal, which is kind of neat and unique. So this is a beautiful, beautiful world-class specimen for what it is. And oh yeah, I even have it notated, saddle crystal. So I always like to see, without even looking at my notes, that I say the same thing as I did when I was writing the notes. So memory working there, knowledge working there. How about this? How about a discount working here and a big discount? I'm going to make that one. I need teethy money, needless to say. How about this? and I hate to give it away this cheap, $128. $128. That is a jewel. There is another one with, wow, time is going to run out on me, as it always does, but, oh, hold on. Let me show you something fun first. 115-0523. I mean, there's specimens that are more expensive, but there's some that I think are fun, and this is one of them that are not expensive. So sometimes I forget to show those. Yeah, 1150523. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, you know, I think that it is just as cool as can be. Look, so what it is, a piece of smoky quartz, and just a portion of the bottom has been polished, and then they just polished across the top. It's not exactly level, so it's not like a drink coaster holder. It would slide right off. But what it is an awesome paperweight, a beautiful display of smoky iris quartz, and the irises, let's go in and look. Look at that one. Look at that one. That's it right there. There's the money shot. Look at the colors coming out of that iris. And look at in every different direction. That almost looks like a dragonfly wing, doesn't it? I mean, you know, in my mind, what's left of it. Yeah, really cool. I like that interpretation of it. You can see irises back here. Anyway, this is a neat specimen. Even if someone doesn't like rocks and minerals but has an office and you want to give them some kind of different paperweight holder or something different on their desk that, you know, something like that will draw more attention than the cleverest of other doodads on a desk. And what it is, remember, is quartz, and quartz has natural metaphysical properties. I mean, that can be measured. Remember, I have that little doodad. I'll bring it again, and we'll do some measuring of the piezoelectric nature of quartz. That iris alone is stunning. Only $44. Only $44 for that whole piece. That is a find for that, I think. Besides being mostly facet grade smoky quartz. So I have also, let me show you. I want to get this featured. Where was? Okay, here we have item number 1137823, if I am correct, 1137823. Okay, so we started at the beginning with a vanadinite, had one in between and one towards the end. Take a look at this one. Take a look at this. This is a beautiful multi-directional or multi-angle of display you could have. So even all these are small crystals. Everything that's sparkling, when they get big enough, they get like that. Or look at this front face. You can see some of the goethite in the back. This specimen has goodies all over it to be looked at. And, okay, so you have almost looked like some specular hematite, which could be possible. Any of the iron oxides are possible. So look at that. Look at that nice, large cluster right there. So I don't know which way or how you might want to display it, but there's certainly that angle, or a mix of the two, like maybe like that angle. I have this, which when I got this specimen along with the others, it was a long time ago. I bought an entire flat of them, and this is one of the largest ones left. So it's a polymorph of lepidocrocite. Who would that goethite is, which you should might have remembered that. I think we asked that before. So, yep, goethite is related to lepidocrocite. I have that lepidocrocite pendant that still didn't say sell. How about this sale price opportunity on this guy? It is a very large, showy piece, but I am, like I said, in the right mode to offer it at a bargain. And a bargain, how about this? A bargain, and crazy bargain, would be only $138 on that. $138. Do some comparison shopping on that one. Now, let me show you, because I have this and I haven't shown it yet. Special sale price, item 114-4123. 114-4123, and I have never shown this before, so I am going to leave its little wrapper around it. Some goethite, since we were just talking about it. Look at this, though. This is stunning. I love the botryoidal nature to it, and that is what really, look at that, sets it apart from just being like a underlaying underneath another mineral. This has a lot of, there's your limonite base. So we'll go in close to on it for just one moment and give you a good look-see. Now, if you take something like this, and if you wanted to do a light spray coat, you could put a really nice gloss on it. You could cut down on any of the oxidation that might occur over time or breakdown of the material, and you'll keep any dust, or if you touch it, any black from coming off on your finger. So that's something always to consider. I have this at a big time sale opportunity, even though it's never been shown before. Let's make it only $28 on that. $28. No one got that flat of that I offered of that material before, so missing out by not having gotten that. So let me see here. Here's the lepidocrocite I'm going to show you. 1140923. 1140923. And here is what I was referencing a moment ago. And so many times lepidocrocite is, and this is intentional. So this was actually offered and sold as, to me, as lepidocrocite, but it's not. It's not lepidocrocite. It is actually just hematite. Almost all quartz that says it has lepidocrocite in it is not lepidocrocite. So it is either platelets of hematite or hematite in one form or another. As you can see, like the little platelets here and then here. So it may not sound as fancy calling it hematite. Look at that. See, it's things like that that are called lepidocrocite, but they're hematite platelets. But this has irises, it has chlorite, it's doubly terminated, and it has the phantoms. Look at, as we look here and come in on this, you can see it has some really neat phantoms and irises. So it's been drilled. It is easy to accommodate. This has a nice size, so you could easily make it into something that, without a lot of trouble because of that. And I love that because I just haven't seen as many crystals as I've looked at. I just haven't seen just a face of hematite like that. And so let me see. Here we go. I'm going to sale price this guy and make that crystal and the whole works only $38. Only $38 on that one. So That's an excellent opportunity. You know, hematite, the chemical formula, remember, is Fe2O3. The formula for corundum is 8L2O3. Hematite belongs to the hematite group, but corundum belongs to the hematite group. Yeah, corundum belongs to it is considered part of the hematite group because you have the same two metal atoms and 3 oxygen. So the way they define what belongs to what group, this has been, yeah. So it's kind of weird to think that corundum would belong to hematite. Somehow the pecking order seems like it should be the other way around, but no, it is not. So take advantage of that one. Let me see if there is anything here. Oh, yes, one more. 11440, let me see this number. Here, take this out. I have 1144623. And yeah, here is something that is available, and it is 2 pieces of the Bolivian ametrine. So you have a wonderful item here. Look at that, with the classic shape that it should be by way of the crystal in the way it forms, alternating amethyst citrine. And then here, look at this. This is a larger piece that I took, that slices were off of. So this, again, you can see, look at how well you can tell, again, the triangles. And this is natural, and it is caused by potassium-40, by natural radioactivity in the ground. Just like green zircons become metamict and non-crystalline because of natural radiation in the earth, that is how you get the alternating colors in ametrine. Only pretty much found in one place, at the Anahi mine in Bolivia. Thank you, sir. Oh, neat opportunity. Both of these pieces, sale priced. Thank you, sir. You can, for only $24. $24. It's worth it just for the specimen. Okay, I could keep going on, but time for, well, you know what? We're not doing trivia. That's right. So you know what? You're going to get the benefit of me showing another piece or two. That, oh yes, I wanted to get these in anyway. Item 1142623. So since we started the show with a free item, right, that was turquoise, well, I think nothing better than to end the show. So 1142623, was that the first one I gave you? Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Look at this. Here we have, all right, so the word turquoise comes from turquoise, meaning Turkish, as it passed through Turkey from Iran, which was Persia at the time, on the trade routes through Turkey, and that's how the origin of the name. And that, wow, natural Arizona turquoise. Look at that. And you can see, again, the natural portion of it just due to varying colors, and there is no dye lines, which it would be obvious. So this is a carving of flowers. It is able to be converted into pretty much anything you might want because it is drilled.
Turquoise is actually called Firoza.
What?
F-E-R-O-Z-A, Firoza.
And
That's what in Afghanistan and Pakistan is called Firoza.
so spell that again. F-E-R.
O-Z-A.
O-Z-A. So Asif just said that in, you know, of course he was born in Pakistan, that in those parts of the world, turquoise is referred to as Firoza.
Yep.
Is there a translation?
That is Firoza. Firoza, I mean, it's what it's called.
So it's not a color or anything like
Let me see.
like that.
But I guess that is a color. Firoza is a color.
Okay, okay. So Firoza, he said, is a color because, you know, turquoise became a color. It became, now we refer, if something is turquoise colored, we think of it as that turquoise as the gemstone in getting the color. So it was the gemstone that came first before the color, but it sounds like the color translates to the gemstone, which would make sense in going back in the history of it, which it is one of the oldest historical gems, along with, oddly enough, another item that comes from that part of the world, lapis. So very cool. Did not know that.
Associated with Jupiter.
It's what with Jupiter?
Associated with Jupiter.
Associated with Jupiter. Okay, so yeah, the zodiac part of the metaphysical side, not much familiar with it, but I know that each is assigned, each zodiac does have an assigned gemstone. I am going to discount this item right now to only making this piece $24. $24. And then let me show you the, we'll make it the last item of the show. 1142723. And in this other piece, look at this. So I love it. I love it that it's natural, because then, you know, it's the way it looked when it really came out of the ground. Bisbee, Cochise County. Really neat. And this design I see all the time. I don't know exactly what it may relate to. I do see some flower-esque type of maybe carving there, but this has drill holes right there and at the other end. So that's when you can make it into a bolo tie or as a slide on a double leather type of item, or you can just run it through just the top hole and have a single strand going through it. Price, I'm going to discount it, same price. Make it easy decision for you. Only $24 on that one as well. And let me make that there. And in one more moment. All right. I'll be right back to wish you well. See you in a moment. All right, so I hope everyone is sitting around with family, and maybe you've already opened up all the presents already, and you know, enjoying everything that you always want Christmas to be, and that you get to see other family members. You know, I'm one down this year, still getting used to, of course, without my father, so lost him a year ago this past summer. My birthday coming around, which was born on my dad's birthday, so that's going to make it a little tough. Still not used to the thought of having a birthday without old Pops, but he lived to 91. So far, I'm 62. I don't know. Pops may just have me on the, yeah. I can't imagine living that long. It's just because I need to get some of my health back. So hopefully that year, for all of us, that we have a really good, healthy year coming up. And let's see, before I see you again, you're going to have New Year's. So I hope all of you have a wonderful, wonderful New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But yeah, we're back in here next week. We're going to create another show for you. So look forward to that, and love and hug everyone you can, and don't forget to pay kindnesses forward. You can never put too many of those away in the bank. And in this crazy world we live in, there's nothing wrong with hedging your bet with some good old-fashioned karma on your side. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. All my love from me to all of you, and I'll see you next year.